Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the Mo Show podcast, episode 41. I have someone in the studio today, Carla DiBello. Hi, Carla.
كيف حالك؟
Alhamdulillah. A bit of Arabic in you.
شوية.
Oh, I think. So let me just get through the intro, and I think people will realize why you do have a bit of Arabic in you. Carla's a businesswoman slash entrepreneur slash film producer, basically someone who I really wanted to get on the show. She's been living in the GCC for almost 10 years. Is that right?
Okay.
Hence the Arabic, and doesn't look like she's going anywhere soon, thank God. Carla, welcome to the Mo Show podcast.
شكرا.
So, what made you initially want to move all these many thousands of miles away from home?
Well, I think I can start by saying my first visit to the Gulf was in 2005. I was working for a movie studio in Los Angeles, and Dubai was launching the first ever international film festival. So I worked for a gentleman in Los Angeles named Avi. We had a film they wanted to premiere in the festival. Last minute, he decided he couldn't come on the trip, and he says, "Go in my place." I was 20 years old, and
That's young. Super young to be sent, to represent, but I'm sure you killed it. Go on.
yeah, it was exciting. It was a time when, I was Googling Dubai and just didn't even, not a lot of people, especially in LA at that time, were visiting Emirates. Emirates had been traveling back and forth, but I was so enamored by the architecture and everything in the Gulf, and I couldn't believe this is a place that was just opening up now to a lot of tourism. People were traveling there. They're now launching the first film festival. And so I had this opportunity and took a hold of it. And the second I arrived, I remember landing at the airport and saying, I really want to live here one day.
Wow.
And I don't know what that calling or reason was, but I just remember feeling this, this gut instinct inside. And I was there for 2 weeks. It was the most incredible trip. I met some amazing people. I had known some people already that were studying in the U.S., lived in the U.S., and it was just a great opportunity to be in one place to connect with everyone.
It's funny because many Americans or Westerners or people who have never been to the region, Dubai is their first landing spot. And that was the first one for you. And that was the first time you interacted with the Arab culture, safe to say?
Actually, no. I think at a young age, I grew up around Saudis.
Okay.
I grew up in Sarasota, Florida. And when I moved to Los Angeles, there were a lot of Arabs from all over, from Egypt and Lebanon and Saudi that lived there and were studying there. And I just always gravitated to the culture.
Okay.
But I've been there. I'm very happy.
Awesome. So you started off, childhood was in Florida, you said?
Yes, I was born and raised in Sarasota, Florida.
What part of Florida is that?
It's near Tampa.
So north.
North.
You like my geography?
There you go.
It was like the only class I was good in. So you started there, and where did life take you after?
So at 18, I became obsessed with Los Angeles. I loved film. I loved movies. I loved figuring out how they came about, how they would be financed or produced, and even at a young age. I mean, my father always, I think I was maybe 11 or 12, was teaching me about private equity and junk bonds and Wall Street. And I became really, into learning about how the structure behind all that, comes about, whether it was being a producer or being behind the scenes or just some facet of it I was really interested in.
Another world. And your first job in LA was in the movie business?
Yes, my first job. I took a plunge at 18, and I was supposed to go to college. And I asked my father, if you really want me to go to college, I will. But I feel like And at that time, around 17, I started my own company and I started doing events. I knew another event person in New York City. And I told her I would love to be involved. And I kind of helped raise money to get this company going at 17. And so I started doing that and kind of learning about business. And at 18, I just felt like if I go to college right now, I might be losing out on other opportunities. And so I did not go to college.
Tough decision to make, but you look at the people who really made a name for themselves. The Zuckerbergs, I mean, if we go through the list, the most
Elon
successful Musk,
exactly.
LeBron James, these people, they didn't go to college. I think it's a way to secure a good job eventually. But I think for those who want a little bit more, I'm not saying go or don't go, but the entrepreneur, it's almost acceptable for you not to go to college. If you know what you want to do at the age of 18, 19, you're almost wasting your time if you do go to college. That's what I'm trying to say.
And who knows what they want to do at 18?
Who knows what they want to do?
You might want to go and be a doctor and get in your second year and hate it.
Absolutely. I found out at the age of 37 what I want to do, which is this. 37. So imagine at 18 or 19, you just don't know who you are.
Exactly.
So I think you took the right choice by not going there.
Yes, I look back now. I mean, definitely there's things about college and having a network and a tight-knit circle. And I do have friends that went to school in Boston and were there between 4 and 6 years and all over the world in some of the greatest schools. And they have this tight bond. But I started working. And I feel like now it's, now that I look back, it was definitely a ballsy move. But, here we are. So it worked out.
Nothing risked, nothing gained. Harper Bazaar wrote something about you, quoting you, saying the importance of achieving true joy is defined by you and only you. So upon reading that, I want to ask you, where does your true joy come from?
I think my true joy really, I had to really work on myself to kind of get to that. What do you really want to do? Other than following a trend or doing something that, maybe is a passion for a friend of yours or other people around you. Because it's so easy to think you like doing something.
Yeah.
But it's hard to go within and figure out how do you get there. And, I like just doing what makes me feel good, trusting my gut instinct, trusting the people I have around me. And every time I'm in different circles or areas, I know what the takeaway is after and how I feel.
Yeah.
So I kind of just gravitate to that.
I think a lot of the time we put up with stuff that doesn't serve us for whatever reason. And I think the more we let go of what doesn't serve us, whatever it could be, and stick to what does, I think that's the result of joy. I just really liked what I read about it. I mean, you said the importance of achieving true joy is defined by you and only you. So distinguish what it is that finds you, gives you true joy, and stick to that. And I think that'll lead to happiness, which goes into my next question. I was going to ask you, are you today happy? Do you consider yourself happy?
I am happy. I think everything and achieving the true joy, it goes in waves, right? So maybe what I'm happy doing today, it might change next year or in 6 months. You can't, things are always changing and you have to learn how to adapt and know what feels good. Maybe if I work so hard to get somewhere and now I'm finally there, but it doesn't feel good, then I need to go reevaluate.
Totally.
And move that along.
Yeah,
so
totally. I want to just pivot back to life and times in LA, a place that meant a lot to you. In my reading of you, Carla, I came across you being very close with Kim Kardashian. What kind of friendship did you guys have, and what's she really like? Because all I know is from the show, which my wife thinks I do not watch. But what's she really like, Kim?
Kim is I love Kim, and I feel very grateful to have had this friendship, especially being in LA and being so close. We spent a lot of time together, and she's very switched on. She has an amazing work ethic. I really looked up to her during those years in LA for somebody that can go for what they want and trust in themselves. And I think that experience in general, and just seeing from where it started to where it is now, I'm actually very proud of her.
Looks like a very hard worker.
Very.
I would cross the street to avoid her. I think she intimidates me a bit. But I feel like, with her inner circle, like if you are lucky enough to be a friend of hers, you wouldn't want any other friend.
Yeah, in person, she's really the sweetest person. And, when cameras are down and lights are off, she's really genuine.
So living in Dubai for 8 years or so now, you obviously heard a lot about Saudi. Did you anticipate that things would unfold the way they are today in Saudi?
I first came here in 2013. I was so excited to get on the plane and visit Saudi for the first time. And I can strongly say that I don't think anybody anticipated what's happening now and how quickly it's happened. 5 years ago, if you told me we were having Formula One and Formula E and Middle Beast and the best concerts and the biggest film festival, don't think I could have imagined it in 5 years.
I would agree. We didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have the team, the skilled people behind. It takes a lot to put Formula One together. And these guys at the Ministry of Sports or the General Entertainment Authority, and I feel genuinely like no event is big enough to host in Saudi today, because what I saw them do in 7 months in Formula One, and I went for both days, qualifying and the race. I'm looking around and I'm like, really? May is when they started? And no complaints by anyone here. It looked like they worked on it for 2 years, genuinely. Like it looked like, it wasn't their first track, and I wasn't the one that said that. A Dutch guy next to me was saying that. It's like, it feels like it's almost like their 6th or 7th race of a year. There isn't, a screw wrong. Everything is where it needs to be. And I'm like, wow, you did that. But before that came Dakar, and they had a bit of experience there. And before that came Formula E. So it's almost like building a building. You need to do Formula E and then Dakar, and it gives you a bit of confidence in saying, you know what, we are ready for Formula One today. And they delivered, and they nailed it, and they come back in March.
Over-delivered.
Sorry for over-delivered. Totally.
Great event.
And 5 years ago, we just didn't have the, is governance the right word? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but we just didn't have the right people in place. And today we do. And that's why I say that I don't think there's an event that's too big to host. The Red Sea Film Festival started a few days ago. Mm-hmm. Now, it looked like something out of LA. It did. I mean, I wish I could have been there. Just looking at the cameras, looking at the red carpet, it looked like the Oscars. It
was amazing.
From where I was sitting watching, it looked like.
It really was. And I feel like it was how film festivals really started, which was so beautiful, because it was such a authentic and glamorous and just the energy in Al Balad.
Cool location too, the historic town.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful location.
This is a result of employing or putting the right people in place.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like it was, okay, who is the number one guy in Saudi who understands Hollywood and the culture? If anyone says someone besides Mohammed al-Turki, sorry, you don't know what you're talking about.
He's great.
But they chose the right guy for the job, and now look how that unfolded.
He was perfect for it. And Mo's actually been a friend of mine for almost 15 years. And I'm so proud of him. And it's almost like how everything happens for a reason. Like he had to go to LA. He had to spend this time abroad. He had to do what he felt was good for him. And look where he is today.
Came back full circle. His country called upon him, and he was ready. I'm super proud of the guy. Honestly,
Yeah,
the right
me
guy for the
too.
job. So this is just year one. Imagine next year.
Mabruk Mo.
Mabruk Mohik, big time. I was lucky enough to have him on the show. So moving on, you did a bit of traveling through Saudi, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, which spots did you hit up?
I've actually been to probably 15 places in Saudi now.
Get out of here. 15? That's way more than
A lot of Saudis.
Wow.
I've had the privilege. We've been filming a lot in the kingdom for the last 4.5 years, and to just be in Saudi and go to the most beautiful places, from mountains to valleys to waterfalls, that all the greenery. And, a lot of people, I'm always, if I'm speaking to someone on email or whatever it may be, I'm like, greetings from Saudi. And people are just in shock.
It's a typo.
Yeah, they can't. They're like, we thought it was a desert. And then you have the Red Sea and, being in Jazan and Farison Island that looks like the Maldives or Fiji. The water is so clear. And I had an opportunity to go diving there, which was, incredible, because it's not a place that people are visiting yet.
No boats. It's untouched. It's virgin.
It's untouched islands.
Nice.
So it was really beautiful.
Marine life, stingrays, any sharks, anything that I don't want to see?
You know what? I was always so scared to go diving for the sharks, right? I was always afraid.
Yeah.
I don't want to go diving because I don't want to deal with the sharks. But this, when you dive for the first time and being underwater, it's probably the one time in my life that is a true meditation where you don't think about anything else but your breath. And that is like the most calming feeling. So now I really get why people go diving. It's the one time you can just switch off. There's no phones, no social media. You're not trying to take pictures. You are focused on your breath and your breathing, and that's it.
Something we can all do a little bit more. You're right, because when you're underwater, all you hear is your breath.
Exactly.
And no phone. And
I didn't think about any shark. I'm like, bring it on. If you're a shark, go ahead. I'm focused right here. That's it.
Zenned out. So cool. So you said you've been 15 regions and you did a bit of filming. I know that you were involved in Maskoon, the short. I want to know a little bit about that.
We're actually very excited about Maskoon. We just released it. It premiered at the film festival, the Red Sea Film Festival. And it's actually the first ever psychological thriller shot in El Balad.
Right up my ass, my favorite genre, psychological thrillers.
It's starring Paris Verra, and it's directed by David Darg and Lena Malaika. Lena is someone we've been working with for the past few years. We got introduced to her from the Ministry of Culture years ago, just to get some advice on areas in Jeddah. And we loved her energy. We loved working with her.
She's a local Jeddah girl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we brought her on a lot of our projects.
Amazing.
And David Darg, our amazingly talented director, has really been mentoring her, along with a lot of other young Saudis here in the region. And this is now her first directorial debut.
So she directed it.
She directed it. And it's a story that really touches on female empowerment and being able to, for Lena, she's gone to film school. She's from here. She has the vision. But to be able to work with our director who might have, he has the expertise and the art behind it, and he can, it's just a perfect example of how well, we can work together. Yeah. A foreign production collaborating with a local Saudi crew.
You don't see that very often.
You don't.
It's got the Saudi US DNA in it.
And it shows, like, we need her. And she needed us. And for Paris Verra, who was so talented, and she's not only an influencer, she's even beyond, she's a photographer and she edits her own work.
I love her content.
And yeah, she's so talented. And, she moved here 2 years ago, and she was an experienced actress in Los Angeles. But when she moved here, she came to visit her mother who lives here. And, loved acting, but there wasn't really a culture for it. There's no auditions happening. There's no castings. There's no, you have to build the culture,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
So
that's happening right before our eyes.
exactly. So it's
breeding ground almost.
So just kind of knowing her work, and we've always been a big fan of her, and seeing her work, of course, on Instagram. We've reached out to her and had her, do this film with us, which she's an amazing actress, and now it kind of shows that we can bring a culture somewhere and do it so well.
It's kind of a case of watch this space. I think there's a lot more of that to come, where you have, locals and Americans or Westerners teaming up almost in a collaborative fashion to build something, because we're untapped. I mean, our region is untapped. I know Jared Butler is shooting something currently in Al-Ula.
Kandahar, yeah.
Kandahar. That's, pretty cool. And on many occasions what really pissed me off is that if there's a movie being shot about Saudi, I know damn well that's not Saudi. The license plates are Morocco or something. Like, you didn't, at least just, make us believe that it is Saudi.
Right.
But now, if there's a movie about Saudi, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be shot in Saudi.
Exactly.
Because you're allowed to film here now. You just submit whatever you need to the Ministry of, I believe, Culture.
Film Commission.
Commission, and here you go. That's why our good friend David rolls around with a camera, and he's not the only guy that does it. And you can pretty much shoot anything you want.
Exactly. They've done a great job. Ministry of Culture, the Film Commission, they've really done a great job at welcoming filmmakers. They have Kandahar and Al-Ula. They have Desert Warrior being shot in Tabuk. We're shooting films. There's a lot happening, and it's a good time. And you have to collaborate. You have to work with the locals here. And what a great opportunity for both sides.
Totally.
Maskoon could not have happened without Lena and the other team. We have to have an authentic side of it. And this short, it's 20 minutes. It's in Arabic and English, but you get the real authentic Saudi Arabic. So we need each other, and I want to see more collaborations
I love
happening.
The authenticity. I love it. I really do. Newcastle United Football Club. So I went to school in England, and I'm very close to the English soccer, as you would call it, or football. I support Chelsea until this deal went through. And when I lived in the UAE and our friends in Abu Dhabi picked up Manchester City, I was like, I hope one day we get a team. And then the Qataris went for PSG. And I said, I hope one day we pick up a team. And then a couple months ago, I hear that PIF are the new owners for Newcastle United Football Club, a team that A, has a huge fan base, B, is a one club city, no other clubs there in Newcastle, and C, has a state-of-the-art stadium. I know you have a role in it, and I want to know what the degree of that role is.
Well, I'm happy you're a Newcastle fan now. Good choice.
Totally.
And I will say, yes, I am very excited about that deal. I was involved. I will say, a majority of my business has been, bringing companies together, bringing groups together. I know that Saudi had been looking at a lot of different investments. And what an exciting opportunity to be able to have a Premier League team. And I'm just really excited about the future of it. It's a very strong club with rich history, and looking forward to the future.
There's big expectations, and I'm sure big ambitions. So also it's another case of watch the space. I feel that the football world is scared. It's on pins and needles because we're going to go for it, is what I feel. You know what I loved about the deal when it went through? How many local Newcastle natives were wearing our Saudi red headgear and going to the match. Like I saw English guys wearing the full tob headgear, even the mishlah for these.
Yes.
And never in my, I mean, what would it take to get that done in Newcastle? You couldn't script it even if you were a movie writer. I mean,
I agree.
And here you are, you know, it was just touching.
The stadium was electric that day. It was a new, I mean, the fans of Newcastle have been waiting so long for change. And I had the opportunity to be there and just seeing, you know, people in thobes and gatras and the Saudi flag just put a big smile on my face. And
a lot of Saudis too made the trek to that opening game. And here you are, Saudis and local Newcastles, for the first time ever, cheering for the same thing. And that's just the beginning.
We're united.
We are united. Newcastle United.
Newcastle in the kingdom.
Yes, indeed. I love that. There's your next movie. Carla, a few days when we spoke, you mentioned a project that you're working on that you're super excited about. It's an online streaming platform called Arabia Plus. And I was like, you know what? Tell me no more. I want to hear it on the show. So can you tell us a bit about Arabia Plus?
Yes. So Arabia Plus is a passion project of mine. I've been working with my partners, David Dark and Dawn Olivieri, on it. We've been shooting in this part of the world for the last, 4.5 years, like I mentioned. And Arabia Plus is a platform that will be telling Middle East stories, predominantly in English, and also a place for filmmakers from this part of the world to showcase their work. And there's been a lot of amazing films that have been made, award-winning films and festivals, that doesn't always get to travel.
Got it.
It stays more regional. And they're just such great opportunities to showcase to the world these other formats that aren't being shown. So we want to create a home and a hub for filmmakers from all over the Middle East and showcase their work on this platform. And as well as we are creating new original content, and we've already worked on about 6 projects, and we'll continue creating these projects. And Arabia Plus is a production studio, but it is also, the added asset is this platform, which you can also put your work on.
Is it going to be something available on the App Store?
It will, yes.
Right. So you're kind of competing with who regionally? Is there anyone in that space? I don't think we're in a place to be competing. We're not relying on the acquisition of getting a huge amount of titles. I think we want to be the cool brand. How I would explain it to some people, we want to be the Yeezy complementing Adidas, or, the Virgil Abloh complementing Louis Vuitton. Like, it's that, we want to be this extension,
young extension where we can work with other streamers and other networks, and just adding, our touch and our, vision towards new projects. There's so many, and people don't realize this, but there's so many rich stories that have never been told. And it won't travel unless you tell it in English. And here we are at a time, yourself with the 2030 vision, we're really trying to open up. And it's a country that, has been closed for so long. So now we have the opportunity to showcase and be relatable and show how powerful our stories can be. And people can see them.
I love that you use the words we and our when referencing Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I consider.
I love it, honestly. I'll just take a second to just appreciate that.
The grand we.
Because you feel like you are one of us. You've been here long enough. You have immersed yourself in the culture. And I was just noticing you twice. You said we, and then once you said our. And that really touched me. So
thank you.
I
feel that. And I feel, even living in Dubai and spending so much time in Saudi, I do speak like that. And I do feel that I'm part of the up and coming change and how fast things are evolving. And I feel welcomed. I feel part of the movement. It doesn't matter that I'm American from Florida. I've been here for a long time, and I'm happy to work with everyone and consider us all family in a way.
I don't think you're moving back.
Definitely not to Florida.
What's something we don't know about Carla?
Oh, wow. Well, a lot of things. I try to keep a lot of things private. I did say I didn't go to college, which a lot of people always ask me, what university did you go to? And I used to feel a bit ashamed. Like, here I am sitting in this room and everyone studied, at these Ivy League schools. But at 21 years old, I started working for a wonderful casino mogul called Steve Wynn, who basically created the skyline of Las Vegas. I got a position with him while I was working for the chairman of a movie studio. And I made a big decision after having this dream of moving to LA and being in production and film. And one day I get a call to move my entire life to Las Vegas to work for Steve Wynn. And I was taking a woman's position that was with him for 31 years. And he says, I can't go out and broadcast this position or, take applications for it. And I know you work well where you are now, but I want to give you this opportunity. And I had to really make a big decision. Do I give up this passion and production and working for a movie studio to go live in Las Vegas and work for him? And I remember I called my father and he was like, if you don't take the job, I will. So I was like, okay, this must be a big deal.
Let me call Steve.
Exactly.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime.
It was, I think it was better though at that time that I didn't really know the importance of it, because I was more into hanging out with my friends and watching movies and learning more about studios and production and scripts. And so I wasn't really, understanding what I was getting into. And I just remember moving my life to Las Vegas. Him and his wife found me a place. And I think everything happened within 3 weeks. And here I am working at the Wynn in his office. Everybody in the office had been working there for the last 25 years. And here I am, 21 years old, going on 22, starting this new position. I think I had like a Picasso above my desk and a Turner in the restroom and all this art. And it was just, I tell everyone now, it was really my free tuition to Harvard. And I actually got paid for it. So
it beats Harvard in my book.
Exactly. It was so, I learned everything there. And I think that's why I am where I am today, because I worked with him and I was like a sponge, just being able to be on the phone, understanding how business works, watching him start a project, watching him complete a project, watching him work on a deal, what gets involved from investment bankers to, advisors to everything, and just kind of seeing people getting things done.
2 questions. First one is, my God, you must have met some influential people. The second one, because I have a tendency to forget things, is do you feel that it changed the way you do business, you negotiate, you talk to potential clients, just being around Steve Wynn? Do you see yourself incorporating that today? First question is, my God, you must have met some influential people.
I met a lot of amazing people. And I remember just, sometimes, we'd have Bill Gates come in the office, or Warren Buffett and Steve Schwartzman and all these amazing people. And just being able to witness, these are the guys making things happen. They're really
world leaders.
Yeah, world leaders, and just seeing how Steve deals with people in general. I mean, he had such a vision, and he knew what he wanted. He was, very decisive. So I learned a lot about, figuring out what you want, getting clear on it, and going for it. And I would hear the craziest ideas in the office, like, I want to do this and build that, and then watch it happen and realize, we all have the same amount of hours in the day. We all can do the same thing. It's just having the goals and the passion and getting clear on it.
He's the kind of person that I feel doesn't know what the word impossible means. And whenever I go to Vegas, I always stay there. And I never change the TV channel because it's his voice. And he has a very soothing voice. So in a way, me and you are connected through Steve Wynn. Serious.
He does have an amazing voice.
Amazing
It's like
voice.
A character.
Yeah, but he talks about what restaurants we have, what shops we have, what to do, what's good this time of year in Vegas. And I just leave that on TV, and the Encore is where I always stay. So I look forward to going back.
Yeah.
How stressful is, we touched on, business deals and what you learned, in your time in Vegas. How stressful is, and how do you deal with stress when trying to close one of the big deals that you have closed, one of the many big deals that you've closed?
It's very stressful.
How do you deal with stress?
It's a lot of practice on not worrying so much. And, it's so easy to get anxious about something, and we all have it, right? We all get anxiety, we get nervous. We don't know if we're doing the right thing. We have imposter syndrome. We don't know if we're fit for it. So I think a lot of it is, when I get an idea, sometimes it's so massive that I'm like, oh, I'm not right for it. Let me just run away from it because I'm not the right. But you know what? You get to a point, and I will say for any deal I've worked on, I'm here because I'm the best person for it, because I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. So I'm the one putting in the work, putting in the time, learning about it, and I should be here. And everyone needs to trust themselves and welcome that.
It's a great attitude, knowing that you're the right person for the job. Earlier we spoke about, the right person for the job, and I think the moment you feel that you are the right person for the job, I don't think anything's stopping you, because your confidence will be sky high. It'll help you in everything, in negotiating and communicating.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of, getting clear on what you want and what you want to do. And I tell everyone it's also, even if you don't have experience in something, if you want to be, a fashion designer like my good friend Arwa Banawi, or you want to, make a film, but you don't know where to start, you can recruit some pretty great people to be behind you and help you get to where you need to go. And if that's your passion, then, you go and focus your energy and be surrounded by people that are doing things that you like.
Relationship with your parents. Are you still close with mom and dad?
I am. My dad is actually my best friend. He knows everything going on in my life. Sometimes he calls me way too much, but I really appreciate having him. And growing up, I think my mom had the role of the bad cop. And I think I really tortured her, especially being the only girl. I have a twin brother and I have an older brother. And being the only girl, it was like they got so much freedom, but I was the girl. So it was different for me on what I was able to do. And
it's right. It's very Arab style.
Yeah, exactly.
The girl
the
is
Italian and the Arab. Nafsi shay.
So big part of your life, in mentorship and all that. Do you reach out to your dad today if you're, going through something that you're not sure how to solve?
Yeah, the thing about my dad is he's great with one-liners. He's great with, I have an issue that I'm stressed about, and I can call him, and I know he's going to be very subtle and he'll just give me, he'll tell me a 30-minute, you know, speech, but he'll also give me a one-liner that sits with me and helps me to figure it out. And you kind of can figure it out, when someone's talking through things with you like he does. He's not, trying to tell me exactly how to do it, but we're trying to get to a place where I'm figuring it out to myself on how to react and how to do it on my own.
It's a very interesting approach. What do you admire most about him?
I think growing up, he's always been the person that is like, just do the right thing. Always just do the right thing. Be honest and do the right thing. And I think now I really live with that every day. Just being a good person, doing the right thing. And
it's great advice.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had, one last thing to tell my son, it'll probably be that, do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because if you do the right thing, then the right thing will come back to you, karma.
Yeah. I believe in karma. I believe in, things always come back. And, even today in my life and in my work, I don't discredit any person, any relationship, any meeting. I try to treat everyone equally and see the opportunity and goodness in everyone.
Would you want to be a parent one day?
I think so.
Nervous laugh.
Yeah. I think the thought, I've never been the girl growing up that dreamed of this big wedding and dreamed of having a bunch of kids. I don't know why, actually, but I never had those visions. I think it's really important to find the right partner and knowing that I'm having kids because it's going to be his kids, or he's going to be a good father to our kids. I think it's really important to, find a good partner to have. And until then, I'm going to work.
To someone in mind?
Exactly.
I think, yeah, for sure. It's the hardest. We have very few choices in life. And the choices that we do have, we want to get them right. And choosing a spouse is the biggest decision I think anyone can make. It could be the result of your happiness or unhappiness.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on marriage is expectations. And when those aren't met, and especially nowadays, people just aren't putting in the work or the effort, or got married just to settle. And I've heard that a lot. Like, you're too picky. You need to just, have you thought of just settling? No, I will not settle.
Thank you. A lot of people settling, and then they're unhappy. And then they wonder why they're unhappy. Because you didn't put any thought into who you wanted to spend the rest of your life with.
Exactly. And if you're patient and, take your time, things will work out bigger than you imagined. I believe that.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've done for love?
I would say I've been crazy. Not a psycho crazy.
I'm sorry, I was very reluctant to ask this question, but thank you for rolling with it.
I definitely, I would say,
moved for some, have you ever
I've definitely, there's not like a specific situation. I feel like I'm a very calm person. But I think something I've done crazy is I just act crazy, maybe. Yeah. That's what happens sometimes.
Love makes us do crazy things for sure. Moving on. What's your worst fear, Carla?
Wow. My worst fear. I've definitely had a few fears. I try to move past the fear because it's, something that hasn't happened yet and might not ever happen. So why worry about it twice? Mm-hmm. But if I had to think of something specific, I would say probably losing everything
that you've worked for.
Yeah, I think that's a big fear.
It's a good answer. Because you've worked so hard to get to where you are.
Yeah, and I've actually, it's actually happened to me, probably, I think I was around 25 or 26, and I decided to get into a real estate investment that was a Ponzi scheme, and I lost everything. And I was very young, and I had worked really hard, and I was just freshly back in LA, and I remember thinking, oh my God, this, So I think knowing that feeling and having to rebuild, now I look back and I realize it had to happen, because I probably something bigger would have happened later on. And I'm very aware now. But yeah, I guess definitely say, losing everything you work for.
Which goes into my next point, a mistake you'd never do again. You had to go through that to learn. Now you do extra due diligence on everything. And that's probably, without that happening to you, maybe, just maybe, you aren't as successful as you are today.
I agree. How
about that? So everything happened.
I think there's no mistakes in life. And if you walk around thinking about all the mistakes you made, it happened. It's already the past. So just move forward, because in every situation, which I'm not going to call a mistake, you come out later and you realize it wasn't a mistake, because I learned this and now I know better. So now I will do better. So there's no mistake.
So you believe everything happens for a reason?
Oh yeah, that's my everyday belief. And I live by that. Everything you go through happens for a reason. And everything you do is, it's kind of has to come within. And you learn, at that moment, it hurts and it's difficult. And you try to understand why, and with everything. But if you get to a place where there's a silver lining in everything happening, then you can feel better about it.
So looking back on everything that you've been through, is there anything that you regret or would want to do over?
No regrets.
None.
No regrets.
I never got that answer.
Stepping stones. All life lessons, stepping stones. You can't have regrets.
I recently read something. You either win or you learn. And when you learn, you win as well.
Exactly.
So you kind of really either win or win.
Exactly. It's always a win-win.
Changing the way I think of things now. No regrets. That's it. I'm canceling my regrets.
No regrets.
So if you had the attention of the world for 24 hours on a billboard, what message would you want to send out to the people of the world?
So I think if I had a billboard, I would want it to be two-sided.
Oh, you're getting creative now.
And one side would say, Min Jeddah Wajid.
Min Jeddah Wajid. That's an Arabic proverb.
Yeah.
He who seeks finds.
He who seeks finds.
Yeah.
So if you put out positive, that's what you'll get back.
Very interesting. That touches on the whole karma thing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Do good comes back.
Exactly. Do good and good will come to you.
And on face B?
Will be another, should we do Arabic?
Yeah, I mean, seems to be your go-to language.
I love phrases and sayings in Arabic. They're so deep. And I feel like we don't always have that in English. So anytime I can catch on to a good saying, I try to stick with it.
What do you think of the writing, the calligraphy?
I love it.
Isn't it beautiful?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So face B?
تفائلوا بخير تجدوا.
تفائلوا بالخير تجدوا. Translated is seek optimism and you will find positivity or optimism in return.
Yeah, manifest good thoughts. Put good thoughts out there always. If you think positively, that's how you are going to feel.
It's such a cool little proverb or I mean, I can imagine like an artist writing that, and I'd put that on a poster somewhere in my house.
Yeah, I have 2 books at home that have all these beautiful sayings, and I love to just, catch up on them sometimes and remember them.
So nice.
Shukran.
Carla, any closing words before we say goodbye to you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. And I guess closing words, I would just tell everyone to dream big, think positive, and work towards something you're really passionate about. Do what you like to do, because that's when you'll feel your best.
I cannot agree or echo more what you just said. I mean, if this girl in northern Florida, sorry, I forgot the name of the town.
Sarasota.
Like,
shout out to Sarasota, Florida.
Shout out to Sarasota. Went to Los Angeles and then to Vegas under Steve Wynn and then to the UAE. And just a few months ago was involved in a very big deal with PIF in Newcastle. If she can do it, anyone else can do it by putting yourself out there and not being afraid of what can go wrong. Be more into what can go right. So if you can do it, anyone else can, and it's really, really inspiring.
Thank you.
Living proof.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carla, for coming on.
Thank you.
Sorry, I think I took way too much of your time. I know you've got a lot of stuff to do tonight.
It's fine. I'm happy to be here.
Really appreciated your time here.
Shukran.
And all the best.
Inshallah.
Thanks
Shukran.
so much.
Ma salama.